Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast. Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Myke Lyons. Myke Lyons is the Chief Information Security Officer at Collibra. He is responsible for owning and championing the company's security governance and advocating for both customers and Collibra's technology. Myke brings over 20 years of experience in information security, most recently as Head of Security Strategy at ServiceNow, an enterprise IT cloud company. Previously, he served in various senior security analyst and security architecture roles at Gray Group and WPP Group. Myke maintains his CISSP and is passionate about democratizing data. Well, good afternoon, Myke. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
You bet. Absolutely. So cybersecurity obviously is always a relevant topic, especially in this day and age during the pandemic. Myke, I wanted to really jump into some questions here. So let's get started. You have a sound background in technology. You really specialize in security now. You're a Chief Information Security Officer. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth?
Sure. So I think a lot about my growth has come from just a general interest in technology as a whole, as well as being, heavily focused on the business itself needs to function. And so there's an opportunity for security to play a part in maturing organizations, at the same time understanding that risk is a balance, and having a level of risk tolerance is much more important than having just pure risk avoidance. And I think through my career, it's something that I've focused on is partnering with my business partners, so that they can understand that I'm not just trying to make passwords longer, but that I'm actually trying to help us accelerate our business in a unique way.
Thank you for sharing that. Obviously, as a technology executive myself, security is always at the top of mind, so I can totally relate, and I know a lot of our listeners can relate to that. So thanks for keeping our world safer. So, Myke, as you know, everybody globally has had to make major shifts to adapt to this new normal because of the pandemic. Could you share with us what you're doing to adjust and stay ahead of these hacking schemes that are out there?
Yeah, the biggest things that we've been working with our employees on is education. We have all hands continuously with our employees, and these are company-wide all hands. But we make sure that we include messages about what to be on a lookout for. We try our best to leverage technologies that allow our users to make good decisions and keeping our users empowered, but at the same time, giving them warnings when possible. For example, we've recently rolled out a technology that helps our user base identify what is potentially a phishing email, or maybe it's a spam email. When we were going that route, I understand that I work for a software company. Collibra's got people that are mostly tech savvy, and in that they like to use their own mail clients. And we're a little bit of a open in that regard, because these are very competent individuals. So we had to come up with a technology that allowed us to be very agnostic with some of our clients. Our clients, not meaning our users, our clients meaning our mail clients specifically. And so we've actually acquired technologies that allow to bring those things right to the forefront. The other thing that we've shifted a little bit, and I think we'll keep it, frankly, is that we have a newsletter that goes out to the whole company saying good things that are happening. But in there's like a security corner, or it's a security bulletin. And in there, it's just some best practices of, what we're seeing, and what we'd like our users to be slightly more aware of. And the feedback there has been very good. There's lots of ways to do security awareness, but doing it continuously, expecting it. I think staying close to our users is probably the short version, and the long version is as I described it.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And you're absolutely right. I think one of our biggest opportunities, I'll just call it that, could be a challenge for some, but is that end user education, which is really, really important these days. So thank you for sharing that. So Myke, you talked a little bit about some of the things you're doing, but could you share with us maybe some of the underlying technologies? I've spoke with others in your space that leverage, AI or machine learning, deep learning technologies. Are you leveraging any of that type of stuff in your company today?
Absolutely. So obviously data is what we're trying to protect at the end of the day, right? We're not trying to protect servers or phones or laptops. We're trying to protect data, because the devices themselves, you secure those things by, keeping them close to you, put them in a bag, or, don't leave them on your windows open in the car with it on the dashboard. So we're trying to protect data. So we have the opportunity of leveraging machine learning in the context of data. So we can use technologies to actually determine what data it is. So, is this a PII? Is this HIPAA data? EPHI more specifically? Is this other structured data? And we leverage our own technologies around machine learning for that. The other area that we leverage machine learning is around our next generation antivirus technologies, anti-malware technologies. We also leverage some machine learning around our phishing protections. One specifically, one of the things that we've seen as a result of the pandemic has been an uptick in CEO, CFO, CXO, I guess we'd call it, fraud. And so, these emails that have, that try to create some compelling event. I don't have access to my laptop. I need you to wire this money over to here for me really quickly. And those things were on the rise. And so we actually use machine learning to detect a message that may come from a leader. So at the bottom, I sign my emails all the same way. So if the email was signed similar to me, or my name is in the signature, and it didn't come from my email address, we use some interesting capabilities around those things. And then, generally just trying to determine and stop those phishing threats through some of those machine learning capabilities.
That's great. I appreciate you sharing that, Myke. It's interesting because as a hacker out there, a lot of these tools and methods are free, right? So companies and people like you have to spend a lot of money, do a lot of research to stay ahead of these particular threats. So I appreciate you sharing what you're doing with your company and keeping us safe. Myke, last question. This is where our audience, they want to know more about who Myke Lyons is. Can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career either in tech or cybersecurity?
Absolutely. So, Brian, when we were just chatting before we actually started recording our session here today, we were talking about podcasts being a really critical thing. Today, my phone broke this morning. I had to run over to the Apple store to get my phone fixed. And one of the people that was helping me, one of the geniuses, as they're known, was asking a similar question to this. And I find podcasts are just such great ways to learn so much about technology, especially the cybersecurity space, considering how fast and it moves. The threats are changing constantly, but also through those podcasts, you'll get those fundamentals. You'll be able to understand and see that, attacks that happened, 10 years ago, maybe making their rounds again, but, the way that they're leveraging them are different. I find that to be critical. The other big one in this, current environment where travel is heavily restricted is there are groups out there that like to work together, whether it's via Slack or whether it's via Zoom. And so I'm fortunate to, my company is a venture-backed company. And so some of our ventures, organizations that have been supporting us have created groups of security professionals and gotten us together to go through various topics. So I definitely encourage folks that are interested to look at joining your local groups and getting involved. Years ago, I was involved in some of the groups in New York and obviously from those conferences, but now we need to come up with new and creative ways to connect with each other and learn from each other.
I think that's super important, Myke, especially, in a virtual world nowadays. Everything has gone online, and thankfully we've got areas of opportunities, I should say platforms really, that we can grow. LinkedIn has been a great example of that. So thank you for sharing. And Myke, it was a pleasure having you on the show today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Brian. This was really good. Great chat. Thank you.
Bye for now.